Hi, welcome to my channel. My name's Jeannie. If you're new here, thank you for coming by. If you're back, thank you for your continued support. Today we're going to be doing a get ready with me with some of my favorite products. It's one of those quick 15-20 minutes and you're out the door. So if you like what you see, let's get started. Okay, full phase of all my favorite products or some of my favorite products for mature, aging, over 40 skin. First thing we're going to start with is a pore filling primer. I'm going to use two actually. I'm going to use the NYX pore filling. I've got quite a bit of texture on my skin, not just pores, but I also have chickenpox scars. I got chickenpox when I was 27. So I've got that, and then I've got a lot of lines. I haven't done any Botox or fillers or anything like that yet. By the way, I'm 49 years old, so it's about time to get started with those things. So next, the Milk Makeup Blur Stick. I'm going to go ahead and run this in my problem areas, and my problem areas are pretty much everywhere. I mean, I've got some pretty deep chickenpox scars and some pretty prominent pores. So just take that and just tap it in. I mean, they're not going to disappear completely, but if I can get a little bit of blurring, I'm happy with that. As of late, I've been having some problems with keeping foundation on my nose. So I do powder my nose prior to applying my foundation. So I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish. And this is in shade number 1 Fair. This is the Sephora Pro Flawless Airbrush number 56 brush. And I just take a little bit on that and just kind of pop it around my nose. You don't have to use this, but this is one of my favorite foundations right now. That is the Pat McGrath Labs Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Foundation. I love this stuff. I love the finish that it gives to my skin. I bought it to do a first impressions, a review on it, and fell in love. That's the end of it. I just kind of spread that out everywhere. Try to avoid putting too much product on my smile lines because it doesn't matter what foundation I use. My foundation loves to gather in those lines and also in my forehead wrinkles. I've got some pretty prominent forehead wrinkles and they like to gather there. But the pore filling primer kind of helps with that. It also, powdering my nose before application really works to keep it on my nose and it doesn't look funny. Even though I do have eye cream on, I like to apply the Henricksen Banana Bright Cream. And I just take a little bit, spread it between my 2 ring fingers and run it around both eyes, upper and lower lids, to add a little extra moisture. So that's one of the things that I love about this foundation is that it plays well with just about anything that you use with it. Usually I'll give that a few minutes to set in before I do this. Then I go in with the Becca Under Eye Anti-Fatigue and just kind of tap that in place, just for a better concealer application. My next step would be to go under my eyes with the NYX Dark Circle Conceal. I feel that this is the perfect shade of Peachy Apricot to conceal my under eye dark circles. I need it. Without that, I'm just gonna look like Uncle Fester, and nobody wants that. So it's pretty emollient, and with aging eyes, that's exactly what we need, is something that's emollient, anything too drying, and it's going to give us wrinkles that we didn't even have. I think that that is sufficiently canceled. I think my concealer can handle it from here. The concealer that is my favorite, oh, hands down, I've had this for over a year and it's still not gone, is the Too Faced Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer. It's almond, and I just take and dot it all around my eyes. The reason that my sponges are already saturated, what they were clean, was this is take 2 because I tried an experiment that did not work. So when you find a routine that works for you, stick to it. Anyway, so I just take, this is my second favorite Sonia Kashuk sponge. This is the teardrop shaped one with the very pointy end, and then it's got a flat side right here. I just take that and I go all the way up to my eyebrow, and I carry it all the way out to my temple. As we age, we lose volume in our face. Contouring and highlighting tells us that anything that we contour will recede, and anything that we highlight will be brought forward. And since we tend to sink in our temple area, I always highlight it to bring it forward. That'll give you a more youthful look. It's just a tip if you didn't already know. And then I will bring a little bit down here. I like to pounce it into my pore area because it does help to conceal those. Whatever's left over, I take up onto my forehead and just over the fronts of my brows. We'll take that concealer and hit those smile lines as well. That way I can bring them forward a little bit. Okay, I will take the Pat McGrath powder, and I have it in light medium too, and the Pat McGrath brush, and just kind of pounce it in there, knock off the excess. Very finely milled. You see how it floats through the air? And just go through here where I'm going to put my powder products and just set those just a little bit. Other than that, I do not put powder on my face. I never put powder on my under eyes because it will give me wrinkles that I don't even have. So that's the only powder that will end up on my face. I like to use the Jouer Bronzer Duo. And what I like to do, this is my Sonia Kashuk Face Pro, by the way. And I like to put the fat part towards the back and the skinnier part towards the front. And then I do like a pouncing motion. And one thing that I would like to say to maturing women is one of the best things that you can invest in are a good set of brushes. The Sonia G, Wayne Goss, Hakuhodo, Chikuhodo, they're all natural hair brushes, and those are the brushes that I prefer. I got turned on to them through YouTube, and I'll never turn back. But if you're against using animal hair brushes, Sigma makes great synthetic brushes, so that's a good choice for you. There's my bronzer on the cheeks, and then I take it up here because as we age, of course, our hairline can recede, and we use the bronzer to cast a shadow there and make our foreheads not seem quite so long. And then also we can use it to, first and foremost, the great thing about using bronzer or contour on your jawline are, as we age, we tend to start to develop these jowls. And if you come up just a little bit on your face right there, you can make those recede a little bit and look a little bit smaller. And then take it, and this time I will sweep the brush, come up in front of my ear, and then come down the neck, especially coming in like a V shape around my trachea. So we've already done this jowl. So we come up underneath now with the rest of it in front of the ear. Back behind the ear because I got my hair in a ponytail today. And I'm going to bronze that and then hit the chest a little bit. Then what I like to do is to contour my nose a little bit. For that, I will use a Sigma brush, and it is the domed utility E34. I kind of bounce back and forth between both shades. Come up into my eyebrow right there. Come down the side of the bridge. Make a straight line all the way down. And then when I get to the tip, I go right below. Kind of like in a V shape. Make sure that that line is quite well defined. I mean, not super defined, but. And then I take my Beauty Blender and just bounce over it a little bit to diffuse it just a little. Then I will also take, bounce and forth, back and forth under my lip and on top of my lip to create a shadow. Makes your lips look a little larger because as we get older, we lose volume in our lip, and usually the one to lose it first is going to be your top lip. So then I want to diffuse that out a little. So I'm taking a Sigma Precision flat angled F88, and I'm just gonna barely tap outwards with it, barely. I do my highlight before I do my blush. That way it just, you don't have that stark line of highlight. You kind of diffuse it out with your blush. So my favorite highlight right now is the Milani in the Strobe Light Day Glow #2. This is my favorite highlight. I broke the other one, so I just went and bought a new one. And what I do is I just kind of go to the high point and then I swirl around in circles. And then I take this up over my brow and up my forehead a little. So it's kind of like I'm doing a C shape around my eye. Kind of gives you the wet look. Not glittery or chunky or anything like that. Then I take a little bit between my brows and a little bit at the tip of my nose, the Cupid's bow. And I like to take it up these two little ridges also. Also like the Jouer Adore Blush Duo. I like this palette because it's a very neutral palette. So I just kind of bounce between the two, and then I kind of carry this in between the blush and the highlight and bronzer, and I go up onto my temple a little bit. And then I take whatever's left over and I kind of run it up into my hairline. I kind of like a reddish tone to my contour up there, and then just a tiny bit, and at the very end go across the middle of my nose. After I finish doing my face products, I always buff them out so that they all blend together. And what I do for that is I use the Hourglass Ambient trio. And what I do is I'm using a Sephora, this is the Procore diffuser number 94. And I just run between the three. And then I just go over everything and make sure that everything blends together well. And it kind of like tones everything down. And I just think that you end up with a more polished look at the end for your base. And I will take whatever's left on here and just run it under my eye one time. That's it. So now we've made it to the eyes. First of all, I like to spoolie out any foundation or anything that is left behind there. I will run a tinted brow gel, either the Benefit Gimme Brow in whatever your shade is, or the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Boost and Set. I like to do that because it not only places my brows exactly where I'm going to want them, but it also tints them a little bit so I know where I need to fill and where I don't. It saves some trouble because I like natural brows. I don't like Instagram brows. I think tinted brow gel was one of the best products that they ever came out with. I'm going to run Gimme Brow through there also. This has got the tiniest brush ever, but it is really effective. And these are virtually the same color, but for some reason when I mix the two of them, it's just like the perfect color. And sometimes I just do this and call it a day. Don't even add any other product. But today I'm going to do just a little bit to the tail of my brow. Oh, I mentioned this in my skincare video. My favorite lip balm is this 7th Sense CBD Soothing Lip Treatment. My husband bought this for me at one of the kiosks at the mall. And I know that they carry it in a lot of places. I'll put a picture of it in because I did buy my daughter some when we went to Atlanta recently for my daughter's wedding. And they love it too. Okay, so what I'm going to do for my tail is I'm just going to take the Urban Decay Brow Blade and I'm going to take the marker tip in, kind of like a liquid liner. There you go. It's really sharp. It's a really sharp tip. So I'm just going to run it through my tail a little bit and extend my tail out just a tad. Fill it in because that's where my brows are sparse. And right at the arch. I mean, this makeup routine is so simple. You can do this a lot faster. If you're not explaining it, you can be done with this in 15 minutes or so. Another tip I like to give to aging women, rather than wrapping your eyebrow around your eye, it's better to bring them straight out. That gives a lift to your eyes, as you can tell. Like you can imagine if they were wrapped around instead of, just taken out. Anyway, so how I like to finish it off is with the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter. If I haven't said it already, I'm going to list all these products in the description box below. But honestly, the products don't really matter. I mean, really, it's just the result that you're trying to achieve. So you could use any product and get the same result as long as you're in the same color family or finish family, whatever. You don't have to use the exact products that I'm using. These are just my favorites. The reason for using them is that they're good for aging, maturing skin. On to eyeshadow. This is going to be a very simple eye look. What I'm going to use today is the Natasha Denona Biba palette. I'm just going to do something really simple, fall appropriate, and maybe even one shade look with something to blend out the edge. I'm going to use Buff all over my lid. I'm just going to take it over the entire lid and then diffuse it out towards the brow bone. Now, one thing I want to say about hooded eyes, I've learned this technique. I'm just going to take it around her eye in a dome shape. And it's very flattering and eye-opening for those of us with hooded eyes. And then I'm going to take a blending brush and I'm going to blend it out. This is about as simple a look as you can get, but it looks beautiful finished product. To blend this out, I'm just going to take the shade Freckle, dip my Sigma E40 in there, and just go around the edge. I mean, this is so simple. Like, you don't have to sit there and blend those edges forever. A lighter shade and just go over the edges, blend that out. Now what I want to do is lift this corner just a little bit. I want to take this out to the edge of my eyebrow.
And drag that up. And then come down to my inner corner. And then I'm going to blend that over here to right under my brow. So it's a little take on that. But it's still the same idea. Blend that edge, grab that tusk shade and blend this edge just a little bit. Okay? That looks pretty good. I might take a little more of that tusk and bring it in towards my brow a little more. Seems to have just a little bit of a sheen to it, but then again, that might be the rough shade that has a sheen. Whatever. So, I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye.
A little dark on my inner corner, so I'm going to take this Tusk shade, kind of tone that down just a little bit there. That's my eraser shade. Tone it down just a tad right there on both sides. And then, if you want to kick it up a notch, I think I'll take this Monroe shade on my ring finger and just pop a little bit of that in the center of the lid just to give it a little more oomph and kind of diffuse it out towards the inner and outer corners. I think that's pretty. It's kind of like a sloppy spotlight eye, but I like it. So I'll do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to take this Sonia G Builder Pro, take a little bit of that so I can make sure that I'm getting it up in that crease. Natasha Denona shimmer shades work really well on a dry brush. And then come back in with my original brush with the buff shade and make sure that it's nice and diffused. Then tap out my concealer on the bottom, make sure we're good down here. I'm going to take that buff shade and run it just slightly under my lash line to meet with that corner. Okay, that's it for the eyes. I think they look pretty good.
Define that a little bit more, the outer V. That looks pretty good. Nude color in around to open the eyes up. You can look away if this drives you crazy to see this.
I'm gonna curl my lashes. I'm going to do that off camera. Curl them, apply some mascara, and then we'll come back and we'll do some lips. Okay. Lashes on, and we are ready for a lip. We're going to go in with MAC Whirl. Okay, and now we're just going to fill it in with some Fenty Gloss Bomb and Fussy. Yeah, I think that matches the eye perfectly. And really, as you can tell, this is a color that's just like my lips are better. So, and this is what I typically do on a daily basis. I think it turned out pretty well. Straighten up that outer V there. I think I'm going to amp up that inner corner highlight just a little with some of my Milani highlighter. Hit it with that. See if I like that a little better. I think I do. I might need a little more bronzer on my forehead. Looks like I've really been through it putting this makeup on because my hair is starting to come out of my ponytail. Pop a little more right up here at the very peak. I think my cheeks are fine. Overall, I think it turned out pretty nicely. Okay, so here's the final look using all of my favorite products. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that it's something that you can incorporate into your own routine. If I wasn't talking to you, it'd be really, really quick and you can get it done 15, 20 minutes. As you can see in that palette, and I'm sure everybody has a palette that is full of neutral colors, and you can tone this down and make it your own. But I just wanted to give you some ideas, some tips and tricks for our maturing, aging skin, some products that work well for our skin, and I hope that you liked it. So if you did, give me a thumbs up. I hope that you'd consider subscribing to my channel if you'd like to see more content like this. I'll be uploading a lot more content for we aging, maturing women, and I'd love to see you join the family. So thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you next time.